Okay, so thanks so much everybody for joining us and a very warm welcome to the TNA Showcase and Q&A 2026. I'm Amelia, so I work with the Atrium Project and we're really pleased to be joined by Martha Mosha, Eric Okoyo and Daniel Kansaon, as well as Nicky, Garland, all who have done TNA schemes in the past. And Martha, Eric, and Daniel are going to present shortly their experiences of the TNA scheme and then be available for the Q&A. But I'm very pleased to pass over to Nicky Garland as well from the Archaeology Data Service, who's going to give a quick overview of what the TNA scheme is to anybody who might be joining us now and doesn't know or wants to learn more on the YouTube recording. So thanks, Nicky. All yours.
Thank you, Amelia. Welcome, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. I'm going to give you a very quick overview of the Atrium TNA screen. Hopefully, you can all see my slides okay. Thank you very much. So I'm really excited to present the Atrium Transnational Access Scheme to you today because it's really a fantastic opportunity for researchers in the arts and humanities and beyond to kind of collaborate internationally and get to know each other and travel to different institutions. Just to give you kind of a very quick overview, Transnational Access Scheme is formed one part of the Atrium project, which is advancing frontier research in the arts and humanities. And over the lifetime of the project, we're hoping to help 200 researchers and give them kind of full funded placements at 16 different institutions across Europe. And this allows them to have access to both the top facilities, but also expert knowledge in these different institutions. And we've been doing the scheme now for a couple of years and been happy to say that we've had about 130 people so far who have received placements, and that leads to around 160 weeks of access awarded, which is fantastic. There are two strands of our Atrium TNA scheme. One we call summer schools, another one we call individual access placements. We've got representatives from both of those strands with us today who will be able to tell you more about their individual experience. But just to give you a very quick overview, summer schools are kind of immersive learning experiences. They typically last 1 or 2 weeks. They are intensive training on specialized topics and they are set at certain times during the year. And your application is relatively short. You just need a short supporting statement. And if you're interested in applying, really what we're interested in that supporting statement is why you're interested in the topic that's been on offer and how it helps you with your current research. Individual access is a little bit more of a tailored support. It allows you to work one-on-one with relevant experts to get guidance on your specific research questions. And these are placements are offered year round, but you need a much fuller project proposal when applying, and that might include the aims and objectives of your research, a description of the work, dissemination plans, and a personal statement as well. I won't go into too much detail about eligibility requirements because they can all be found on our website, but here's just the main aspects that we're talking about. And I think the most important one is that you must apply for an institution outside of the country in which you currently work or reside. That transnational aspect is really, really important. And you can see the rest of these on our website, and I'll show you a link in a second. But just to really reiterate, when you're applying to this scheme, what the applications are assessed on is the quality of your idea and the quality of your plan and the fit between you and the host organization. So really think about that when you're putting your application together. And as I said, all the information can be found on our website, atrium-research.eu/travel grants. This QR code you can scan and it will take you to the relevant pages as well. Right now, our fifth call for TNA is open. It opened at the beginning of March and it runs to the end of May. You can apply to one of 10 different organizations for individual access placements. I won't run through this list of fantastic organizations that work with us in Atrium, but a full list can be found on the TNA pages as well as a lot of information about what those different organizations offer. We also have two summer schools which are being offered, one by the AISCR, which is based in Czechia on computer vision in archaeology, and one by ourselves at the Archaeology Data Service on linked open data and semantic mapping. More details about both of these can also be found on the Atrium pages. Finally, just to say, our next call, as I said, is coming up. We'll have a call later this year as well, and that will be the end of our, unfortunately, our TNA process. So I'd say is keep a good eye out on the Atrium website. Sign up to the Atrium newsletter. It will be your first stop for all of that information coming up, and we'll give you all the information as they go along. But I'll now finish there and pass over to my excellent colleagues who have undertaken their TNA placements, and you can hear more about how their experiences were. Thanks so much.
Thanks a million, Nikki. That was such a good overview of the scheme. I'm going to quickly move on to introducing the very first of our speakers, which is Eric Okoyo Otieno. So Eric, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to read a quick bio for Eric, and then he's going to present the work that he did in his TNA scheme. So Eric is a researcher based in Nairobi, Kenya, and is affiliated with the British Institute in Eastern Africa. With a deep background in archival research, Eric's work has largely focused on the complexities of conflict in northern Kenya, land issues in the southern Kenyan Maasai lands, and the enduring colonial legacies of the Rift Valley. Recently, Eric was awarded a 2025 ATRIUM Transnational Access Grant, through which he trained in digital archiving methods in person at the University of York in the United Kingdom. He is currently interested in how archival photographs can be integrated into modern research projects, and is eager to connect with others working at the intersections of history, photography, and digital preservation. Thanks so much for joining us, Eric.
Thank you for the introduction. So, hi guys, how are you doing? I realized I've been completed the rest of the people, that you are here with. So let me just share my screen. This one. Share the wrong one. Let me share the right one. Uh, is it okay? Can everybody like see the
I'm
screen
not
well?
sure. Yeah, we can see it now. That looks great, Eric. Thanks.
Okay. So I've already been introduced as Mr. Americo Polo, I'm a researcher, and I'm affiliated with the British Institute in Eastern Africa. It's a research institute that started basically on archaeology, but then later on transformed to accept other social sciences research. And so I was part of the team that basically put the archive together. And so there's been collaboration between BIA and ADS and Atrium, I think, for the past 2 or so years, different projects, uh, different seminars here and there. And so I was able to get the funding for last year, and I traveled to York. So I've divided the experience that there was the in-person experience, what I actually saw moving around ABCD, and then there's the takeaways. So the takeaway business, the in-person experience, I first got to understand the ADS, its history, its rationale, and the way people in the UK do archaeology, which I believe it's very, very different from the way archaeology is done here. It is mostly by government institutions, research institutions, etc. But the museum has to be involved. But then they have a lot of private archaeologists, and yeah, of course, the museums and the universities are involved. But then they a little bit of autonomy if you compare the UK to here in Kenya. And so there's a lot of generation of data, and that comes with management. And I was able to walk around the ATL, and I saw how do you say it? I saw the organization, how it's organized, how data is being admitted in, which one can be taken, which can't. So there was a lot of that I learned. And then it was also a good experience to just, travel in person, to be in the UK and, to experience the environment, to see ABCD. It was a very good thing. And then one of the key lessons that I learned was the data management skill, how to organize data, how to do ABCD. I was a little bit messy here and there, but then uh, I learned how to, process it from the word go when you get it, and then how you uh, transferring it, or even you reusing it. And so some of the main takeaways from the ADS was that I was able to author a blog. It was called Navigating Common Digitization and Digital Preservation Pitfalls. Uh, and it was basically from, the summer school. And then I made a lot of friends from the colleagues that we were in, my fellow grant recipients, plus the people who work at ADH. I believe I have very good contacts. And then there was a key methodology on how to use photographs for research. Uh, it was taught a bit whereby people would use old photographs and it would be used by archaeologists to, identify sites and see the changes that have been done over time. So through this method, I eventually decided to look more at it from what I learned. And I already drafted one proposal, I believe I'll be meeting this week. But then for the presentation, I decided to uh, wrap something else so that you can see how, the scheme has helped me a bit. And so I was looking at water, religious uses of water, and, integrating visual research. So this is in Western Kenya, a place called Homa Bay County. So this is basically Lake Victoria. And you can see how it's a beautiful sunset. But then one day apart, so I was there for a day, and then the next day, this is the same place, although it's from a different angle and different zoom levels, but you could see the similarities whereby you see these structures and this one. And it has been, basically full out of water hyacinth. So I won't get much into water hyacinth, but it's a common phenomenon around the lake. But then it just shows it wasn't here like, let's say, maybe 200 years ago, but it's something that when the country was being opened up to other regions faster, and uh, how it became more internationalized, people also developed other problems. But then uh, that that just shows the day-to-day changes that people pass through in the region. And just to ask, how many minutes do I have so that I know the place that I'll be taking?
You're good for another couple of minutes, Eric. No worries.
How much approximately? So
I
I'm
can
just
I can give you
trying.
I can give you 3 more minutes.
Okay, 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 okay.
But
Uh,
don't rush, don't rush.
so
If you need five, that's okay.
okay, five will do. So basically, I was looking at evolution of water in Western Kenya, use of water for spirituality, basically in Western Kenya. And so I have two sites. So there's the Bala Hot Springs and the Abundu Hot Springs. And there's a history whereby, they're saying it's associated mostly, basically, with the tectonic and volcanic and, sedimentary change over how do you say it, over years. Some sources will say 13 million years, others would say just several million years. But then the concept of, water and indigenous belief online, even though it spans, from years on. And there's the international concept of it, whereby if you look at the Buddhists, they will say it symbolizes purity, clarity, calmness. And for example, for Christianity, you see Moses striking the rock. In Borana, in northern Kenya, you see deep wells are regarded as sacred places. Then this concept at times, uh, although there are, beliefs and concepts in the community, they do play to some extent a key role in serving those sites. So if you look at this old map where they are located, it's a place of, very many rivers converge in that area. And so um, the, for these people, those sources of water are not like rare or anything like that. They are very, very common. But then there are some spots that have actually been designated by the community to be like a holy place or something like that. And so also looking at the timeline of the beliefs in the pre-colonial era, we can see mainly the African traditional religions are the ones who dominate those spaces. During the colonial period, there was also a concept of science of geology of the places, and we saw Christianization of those water places whereby people say, okay, this is holy, ABCD, because we see churches are there. And then there are what we call African independent churches, whereby they mix, how can I say, they mix Christianity and indigenous tradition and they use it. And it has been very common for these people to actually coexist in these places. And then if you could maybe zoom this, I don't know, it can't zoom, but I can share the document. You can see one of the people there using the water place. And so this is part of the theoretical, perspective. And the Christianization, I was also talking about the Christianization of those indigenous wells. And it's something that has happened, for example, in Europe, Ireland, there's the concept in Zambia. But in Zambia and Kenya, for example, for these water places, we see, the mix and the coexistence of both of these religions. So these are some of the things. And then on the methodology, whereby we look at visual research, this is a very old photo of the lake, and this is a recent, photo of the lake. We are not talking about the lake, but we are seeing how, for example, if you get access to an old photo, you could see similarities, differences. Like for example, this canoe is one of the, oldest or indigenous canoe, but then you see they're still using the same rowers and everything. So I believe information can still be derived from old photographs. And there's also use of, photo elicitation, whereby you use photos to trigger an interview. There's photo documentation where, this is part of it, the before and after. But since I haven't gone to the field, I do not really have, clear sources of the source. So if I just finish up and then read one conclusion. So some of the objectives will be, one of the important one will be to examine routine experiences of pilgrims, because these people see the pilgrims there daily. So what is their mental perception of that? And then the historical development of beliefs. What did you believe back then? What do you believe now? And what do you think will be, for example, the belief in future? Because it's a convergence of both secular, Christian, and, African independent churches, those who believe, okay, they integrate tradition to their, they integrate to the tradition to their, what they say, beliefs. And on the conclusion, there's also issue of conservation, because you see candle wax around the place. So are they really, polluting the place, or are they conserving it? Because if the belief also fails, there is also talk of, geothermal potential around the sites. So if these people, if their belief, how do you say, it melts away, or no longer believe, I believe developers will soon, take advantage of that. They may or may not, because they are saying it's a very good potential. And I think I wish I had more time to explain, but that's what I can do at the moment.
Eric, thank you so much for that fascinating presentation. And there's no worries. I'm sure a lot of us, myself included, will have some questions that we want to ask you in the Q&A. So there will be more time to speak about this wonderful project. But thank you so much. Those photographs are beautiful, and I already have some more questions that I want to ask you. So we will revisit the conversation. But before we do that, it's time to introduce Martha Mosha, who is our next TNA recipient presenter. And Martha is joining us from Cologne in Germany, where Daniel is also based. We just discovered that on the call before we started the webinar. So I'll introduce Martha. Martha is a digital humanities enthusiast with experience in media, communication, and education. Her interests are in areas where digital media merges with either science communication or technology-enabled learning. Martha holds a master's degree in design science and digital media and a first degree in design. She is currently pursuing a PhD in digital humanities at the University of Cologne. So Martha, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Amelia. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for this opportunity. After I've been introduced, I can actually just jump into my presentation then. I'm actually going to be presenting on an ATRIUM 3D models training school that I attended in 2025 at the as we attended as a group at the Institute of Archaeology in Brno. My area is in digital humanities, so I felt the need to actually approach this in a manner that I learn as much about 3D modeling and 3D capturing and photogrammetry. And then from there, I move on with the future. I'll find a way to make it work in the future. Right, so my presentation today is going to be all over, but I'm actually going to talk about solemnly the experience that I had at the Institute of Archaeology, and then I'll look through the administration, the support that we had, then the summer school experience and the social experience and our lifelong experience that we got from all of this. As you can see the image there, that's the institution that hosted us, or the actual building for that. So I'll start with the administration. Like Nick said, this is actually a very simple process. We had a website and all the information was within the website. We ended up submitting the application. I got feedback that I was accepted for this opportunity. I did the planning of going to this event. And then before even I set off, we had an opportunity to get into a WhatsApp group that we can actually collaborate and work with. And from then the WhatsApp group, we attended the summer school where we met a lot of people and had fun. And two of which were my group mates, as you can see in the photo there. Then we submitted a report afterwards, just a simple report, and which in addition allows you to also submit an online blog. And from there, then you get your funding, as simple as that. The support started from day one. After you get feedback that your application has been approved, you get access to another website that actually has got more details, and everything is in there. I trust you me, even where to eat. Then the WhatsApp group was the next most important learning point for all of us, because we managed to discuss before even we met. We started knowing each other and discussing where we're meeting, what is happening. On arrival, we had arrivals and meet and greet sessions individually, or as in we planned them individually, and then the system and the summer school actually organized some. And then we had the trainers and the support staff amazingly supporting us. They actually were available 24/7. As I say, no sleep. All the time we would be talking, learning. I mean, it's learning academically, it's learning about social life, learning about life experiences. And there was quite a lot of exchange, especially from the team that was there. And they had equipment, even though they did write to us, bring a camera, bring this and that. They had extra cameras, as you can see, the one we are holding there, that's not mine, but we had an opportunity to play around with their gadgets and up to date, really, really good stuff. And then, of course, there's the issue of software that they actually, even if you didn't install them, they'll help you install or even get a trial version for the time you're using it. Then came the summer school. The summer school started off easy on Monday. We were happy, laughing. Tuesday, we were bumped right into this building, and there's a church. It's a beautiful church, really. And we had different parts of the church that you were supposed to capture, of which then from Tuesday afternoon, we go back to the session, and then you start working with what you've got. We actually ended up working a bit on that and on learning other elements from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. By Thursday, we thought we were experts, had a lot of questions here and there, had a lot of issues. We also started now learning our limitations, and we truly were just pushing the envelope. And by Friday, the time came for us to leave, and most people had booked to go right after the training, but most of us still wanted to remain behind. We had quite a lot of software introduction and actually use, and our instructors were way, way too versed. Any question you had, even on the software that is not being taught, they had answers for us, which was really lovely. The social experience. We had quite an experience. As I said, we had the meet session, which happened pre-training. We had a keynote event, even though our keynote speaker was ill, they actually still managed to make it online. We had an official social event that the summer school organized that we really got to know each other, and we stayed up till late. Then every day we had these breakaway sessions or break sessions that you actually can go and have some tea and then discuss, ask questions, get to know each other. We had lunch sessions that we actually planned properly to, like, where are we going for lunch today? And we would break off and go and have an experience of the town. Of course, then we had the dinner sessions, which included beer. Yeah. We left our mark. As you can see in the video, we went into some cafe in Brno and left our mark right there that we were here. We still are very active as a group that I was with on the WhatsApp group. We celebrate our successes all the time, almost, and share whatever we have to with opportunities. And we actually have one of us owing us a wedding, and which we'll all be attending apparently. We had networks and connections that were actually very valuable, and collaborations came from these projects, and friendships, of which is like a lifelong, as I put it. And who are these people? Well, these are them. I could not name them one by one due to time and everything, but this is my network that is from Atrium, the exchange. And honestly, the network is still growing, and I've got new ones that I'm meeting due to this meeting. But I would really, really love to thank the Institution of Archaeology and the Czech Academy of Sciences for their opportunity, and of course, Atrium for this, just allowing us to be full of learning, and it was just learning. Now, I cannot finish this presentation without showing off what we managed to do. So I'm leaving you with an animation of screen captures that I took from the project. My group ended up, instead of doing one panel, we ended up doing three because we were overly ambitious. Unfortunately, because we were three of us, each one of us ended up rendering a different one. So you can actually then see these on Sketchfab as they are. And if you scan the QR code, you actually get to the story that I wrote on the blog and read any other that if you're still confused or not sure about the decision you need to make. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Martha, thank you so much for your presentation. What a wonderful and warm account of the very special week that you had over there. And it's so wonderful to hear the social side of things as well. Like, we all hear so much about the how valuable it is for everybody's research, but to also be given like equal weight to the network and the importance of the network and what the Transnational Access Scheme gives is very special indeed. So thank you so much for your presentation. Similarly, I have a lot of questions for you, as I'm sure some of our audience members do as well. But last but not least, we want to give the floor to Daniel Kansaon, who is a PhD candidate at the Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais in Brazil and a member of the Social Computing Research Group. His research is interdisciplinary, leveraging complex networks, machine learning, and NLP to study the complex dynamics of social media and online users. Currently, my work focuses on investigating computational problems that address real-world societal issues such as political polarization and harmful behavior. So, Daniel, we're really curious to hear about how the TNA scheme supported your research. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so thank you for the presentation. I'm really glad that I can have this opportunity to present about my experience, and also I'm sorry, I need just share my screen. A moment, please. Yeah. So, so today I'd like to present about my experience during the period of the project. So first of all, I'm Daniel. I'm a PhD student in computer science in Brazil. So that's my computer science department, and it is located in Brazil. The state is Minas Gerais. It's near São Paulo, near Rio. So it's the southeast part of Brazil. And in my research area, in my thesis, I work with social computing. So basically, I am interested to study the harmful behavior in online environments. Example, hate speech, misinformation, and all of these harmful activity we are addressing in my thesis to understand and give clarity for uh, this this is online space. And with that in mind, I know met Diana, that's a senior research and expert in natural language processing. So yeah, and NLP, it's one of the tasks that I would like to incorporate in my thesis, and I would like to bring this to study more this phenomenon. So with that in mind, we had idea to propose a 3-month visit in Sheffield. So Sheffield is the city Diana is located. So Sheffield is a city in England. It's near Manchester. I mean, about 1 hour by train. So, and the plan is work in the Computer Science University, address these specific problems. And yeah, it would be my first time in UK. I was so excited with that at that moment. So I'd like to first start talking about the project. So what is the project about? So I need to give a contextualization about the digital transformation. So basically, if you observe after 2018, you have a transformation. So basically, device like smartphones become the first device, the main device used for consume news, to read news, to spread news. And in this context, message applications plays a central role because users take and use these message applications to share message for their friends and for other groups, for example. And these message applications usually have public groups, so people create groups in direction to facilitate the communication. So, and these public groups can be used for many different goals, for example, sharing news, messaging with friends, sending medias, but also message apps, they play a central role in political activism. The point is, okay, an activist person can create a group, I mean, a public group. It could be related to a protest, political, whatever. And after that, they invite people on the web to come and join the group. Example, they share on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And activists can join on this group. So here at the end, we have a radicalized group. We need a lot of activist people join. And yeah, they can spread not only good things. I mean, like they can have harmful content like hate speech on this space. And with that in mind, you can see, for example, a lot of abuse in these message apps. In Brazil, for example, in the previous election, we have a lot of disinformation, misinformation spreads on WhatsApp. So the same happened on India. We need Facebooks and WhatsApp plays a central role in the elections. And recently in Romania, you can see, for example, that Telegram was an impactful problem during the elections. So with that in mind, all of these narratives organized by these radicalized groups, they usually have the othering language. So othering basically is a psychology concept. We need it's a base of most of narratives. So basically, an othering, it's when you have an out group and you say that they are wrong, they are inferior, or they are not belonging to the community. For example, immigrants are lazy, we are good citizens. So the point here is you say the out group, they are bad, they are evil, they are not belong to the community. So this is the base of all harmful messages, I mean. So in this context, we proposed a project to address this problem. So, and we were interested to identify and create a model, machine learning model, to identify these kind of messages, othering language. So we studied WhatsApp data from radicalized groups. And well, with that in mind, I worked with Diana and her amazing group during 3 months. And here, that's just one of the results I have. So yeah, a lot of numbers, but the important point is we could create a model that was able to correctly classify about 87% of the messages. So it's a good advance, I mean, because yeah, you could identify correctly the features of authoring messages. And also we could also create the first Portuguese authoring data set with more than 1,000 authoring messages. So it's a huge contribution because it can be used in the future for other researchers and also
I think we might have lost Daniel, unfortunately, which is such a pity because it was getting so interesting. But maybe we'll give Daniel another minute or two, and he might be able to rejoin. Um, that does seem like he is potentially the call has dropped off. Um, Maybe what we might do, just so that we're not all waiting in silence, I might suggest that we move to the Q&A perhaps. And then if Daniel is able to rejoin us, we can return to the presentation. Yeah, I think he might have dropped off the call. Unfortunately, that does tend to happen. We were very careful during our beginning to make sure everyone's slides are working perfectly, and we all had backups. But sometimes the internet is an unpredictable component in this. Hopefully, Daniel will rejoin us, and we can maybe get the last couple of slides of his presentation. But I think it might make sense now, and I'm also quite conscious of the time because we want to wrap up before noon in the next 20 minutes or so. Let's move to the Q&A. First of all, I always like to open the Q&A by asking, do any of the panelists have any questions for each other? Because sometimes that gets neglected in a Q&A. So I definitely have a few questions for all three, but I was wondering if any of the panelists have any questions for each other. Oh, I think actually Daniel has just rejoined us. Okay, amazing.
about that, my internet.
Don't
I had
worry,
some
no problem. We were just discussing how we can do all the preparation we want for the slides and everything, but sometimes internet is beyond our control. Do you want to jump back in, Daniel? We were going to go to the Q&A
yeah,
and hope that you rejoined us, but absolutely feel free to jump straight back in. I can make you co-host again if you need that.
yeah, I think it's
Oh no,
fine.
you have to.
I can continue the presentation at the
Wonderful.
moment.
Seamless. So glad you could rejoin us. Cool.
So
Um,
sorry.
no
Well,
worries at all.
and yeah, I'd like to talk more about more than the research. I mean, like the experience I had during this period in Sheffield. So, well, I worked with an amazing group. So we had usually group meetings and we could like have this good connection beyond the research. And also I could learn the tea time in England. So it's a bit new for me. I learned this kind of cultural interest point. So currently I can say that I'm a tea person. So usually I drink tea every day after England. So it's super interesting. I cannot mention, yeah, I need to mention the football team of the university. So I am Brazilian and I could help the team with my Brazilian skills. I think, like the football skills. So yeah, I joined the football team in the university. So yeah, we played some match in a football championship, and we could won 3 or 4 games. So it was super good performance, and also could score some goals, and was super happy to have this kind of interaction with people beyond the university. It was super important. And also I need to mention the sports events in Chavan. So I'm a fan of football, and also I'm a fan of sports. So I could go, example, for the first match of hockey. So it's new for me, and it was super important. Yeah, super interesting watch a hockey match. And also there is the football team, the city, like the Sheffield United. I could also watch a football match on the stadium. And also I visit the period in December. Yeah, I visit Sheffield in December, so I could also enjoy the Christmas market. It was super, so super cozy city. I mean, so it was super nice. And well, the current stage, my visit during these 3 months was a successful visit, and we continue to collaborate with Diana. So we still work on the same project, and yeah, we made good progress on a challenge problem. And yeah, currently we are writing a paper to submit for a conference soon. So well, we have interesting research results, but not only that, so I could have good interactions and good connections with people from the lab. And yeah, that's it. And thank you for ATRIUM TNA to make all of this possible. It was super important on my career. And also, I could also be a part of Sheffield, a research group. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Daniel, and thank you for seamlessly reintegrating us straight back into your presentation there. Really appreciate it. I'm conscious of time,